Hello, this is Tanya with the Blessed Family Recovery Summit, and I am doing a speaker reveal. So I have the great joy of introducing Mark Hugh Sam. He has many things going on, but the latest thing he's created, and it's beautiful, his artist who did this is beautiful, True Self Mind Mastery, and evolved mind for a joyful soul. So welcome, Mark.
Hi, Tanya. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you and I were just talking about one of the things you use a very specific tool to help people talk about self-sabotage in their life, which we know for sure that a lot of families who deal with addiction, not only are they so worried about their person they can't function, but they also self-sabotage themselves. So tell us what self-sabotage is.
Well, I think if there, first of all, I just want to tell a little bit about my background in self sabotaging and reason why this is a fun topic for me where I went. I've spoken to Tanya before, and I told her, I actually had a life where I probably had it all. I had everything. And there was deep down, buried inside of me, a part of me that said I'm not good enough. And that part of me was protected by a protector, we'll call them, or part of me that wanted self-sabotage, and I destroyed it. I didn't destroy it once. I did this twice in my lifetime. And on the second time, and some people can say the third, I decided that I was going to find out for myself what was wrong with me, and I was going to fix it because I was too old to actually have this happen again. And as part of my journey, I discovered this thing called positive intelligence. And what he had figured out was a way of putting into our characters, he called them sabotagers, but really just various parts of us, the parts that we play or the masks that we all have. And one of them is, for myself, was a hyperachiever part where I had to prove myself because I was smart. I had to prove to everyone I was smart, and I had to do all these things and create wealth to prove I was smart. And, using that proving mentality, it was just one personality that I found. And eventually that led to, the part of me that was there to sabotage myself was the part that was on the lead. I said, no, you're not good enough. And so there's a battle between the hyperachiever versus the part that wanted to kind of prove or always felt not good enough, so to speak. Mine was just I was damaged. I was a failure was my specific words, not that I was not good enough, but those were my specific words, and I was dumb.
Well, and looking at you from the outside, I mean, you have degrees. You were an investment person. I don't know what title you gave, but you were doing very well for yourself. You're well traveled, you're well spoken, you're well read, and still you were not enough.
That's all part of the persona, though, to cover it up so no one could discover that I was dumb or not smart enough. And so that's it. And we all have these. And part of it we wanted to talk about was so positive intelligence. If you do the test, and I don't know for your viewers, when you get there, it's just www.positiveintelligence/saboteurs. And you can do a free assessment to see what all of them are. But one of them is, to our topic of addiction, is the hypervigilant part of us. And I think, Tanya, you were mentioning about you were hypervigilant. And one of the things I wanted to do was to demonstrate a little bit about internal family systems and how you can use this test to go back to find out what your issues are.
Yes. So I took the test, and I encourage everybody to go over and do it. And it's 10 minutes. It's really worth it. I've got controller and then hypervigilant. Talk to us about what hypervigilant really means.
Hypervigilant is those people who are always scanning. Basically, I'm not safe is the thing and they're always scanning to see what is actually going on around. And so they felt this way that they was not safe. So they're always looking around to make sure that everything is kind of checked out and that they're always safe. And it doesn't matter where they are. It's just the way their brains was trained a long time ago when they were small that they were not safe. So it's really underneath the belief is somewhere along the line they were not safe.
And that I can give you a very specific example. I thought it was just a female thing, but as I've discovered more and more, it is more about me and my childhood. I will get in an elevator and I will really canvass everybody who's in there and go, am I safe? Am I not safe? I will walk into a common area and I will canvass again to see if I'm safe or not safe. So it's very much an instilled part of me about physical safety. And then I'm sure there's emotional safety. I haven't explored that completely.
Well, physical safety and the so-called emotional safety part of it is really a lot of people may not have been beaten or roughed up when they were young, and for women, unfortunately, sexual abuse is always there for both women and to a lesser degree in our society to men. But those are all what we generally think of. However, I found a lot of people who are hypervigilant were people who had in the family of addictions. Their dad was dad, and unfortunately I'm stereotyping here, but generally speaking, that's who I found dad came back in drunk, and and then mom was afraid and kids were afraid. And so every time dad was there, they grew up looking there. The other one that's actually very, very big for hypervigilance are people with PTSD. Since the older generation. So one, either they went to grandfather or father was World War II, and then that person had PTSD, didn't know about it, but had all the effects of PTSD, irrational emotions basically going up and down, and it wasn't diagnosed then. And then all the kids basically inherited in the families that when dad is this way, we got to be on our best behavior. So they're always on guard on there. So you also have that. That's a big one, which I've come across significantly. And I've done, unfortunately, seen where entire families intergenerationally, from the grandfather all the way through, where the effects actually pass down of the hypervigilant kind of characteristic. And for some, it may not be always hypervigilant. It may show up in some other way. So controllers, because all they're trying to do is right? So people who are high controllers also are perfectionists, are in that category, because it's just a means of trying to create an environment where they will feel safe. So controlling behavior or hypervigilant, they're basically of the same coin.
And it's so true. I'm not really trying to do it to another person. I'm trying to make myself feel comfortable. So oddly enough, it's very similar to the addict. The addict isn't really using because of the other person. They're using to make themselves feel better for whatever the reason is. I'm controlling to make myself feel safe and feel better. So we're running this odd parallel at the same time. When you're thinking about this, I know you help a lot of high-level clients, a lot of folks, they probably don't come to you. They come to you with a problem, but that's probably not the problem. So how are you helping folks who are dealing with hypervigilance?
Well, let's just go right into it. So we'll go and just feel into the feeling of being hypervigilant. So I use this thing called internal family systems, which we spoke a little about the last time, and they're just a part. So you're going to play the part of your hypervigilant, and those are in the audience can go along with me. If they have a part that they like, they can just go along. So just play the part of your hypervigilance, and we're just going to interview your hypervigilant part. So just go into it as if it's a play, and you're going to be your hypervigilant part.
Okay.
And let me know, just feel into your body. Where does the hypervigilant part reside? What does it feel like when that actually occurs?
So I can tell you, it's right along this jawline, and it gets really tight right in here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. And what color, if you had to have a color, what color would it be?
This hypervigilance is red because it wants to know that it's there and it wants people to see it.
Okay, so it's red. All right, great. And that's red feeling. And as you're playing that part, ask your hypervigilant part, what is its role in your life?
Straight up protection. It's been keeping me safe for a long time. And it is afraid that if she is afraid. It's more of an it. It's afraid that if it lets down its guard, that the softer parts of me, as it's talking out loud, will do something silly, will put us in danger.
Ah, interesting. So it has a conflict with other parts of it. What part of it is it afraid will put you in danger?
There's a part that we could probably call, what can we call it? We could probably call trust and over concern. It's amalgamated that says, oh well, we're okay to trust other people. We need connection and we're over concerned about them. But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that trust. And I think that you may come back and that part might be the pleaser. You may call it like a
yeah,
pleasing
well,
personality.
yeah, and what I want is I want you to like me, but at the same time, the hypervigilance is going, danger, Will Rogers. We might not be the right thing.
Yeah. And so what we're finding out really is that now we have two characters in your mind or parts of your brain. One wants to please because deep down underneath that there's something else, but we won't go there that, but we still will stay with our hypervigilant part that wants to make sure that that person is, you got to be safe, right? And so you have this tug of war between the two parts that are going on. And ultimately, they're both trying to protect you. Well, in a sense, because one wants to protect you to be loved and cared for with other people, getting that need met, while the other is trying to get your physical need met. So, which one normally wins out for you?
I'm like probably a lot of your clients. I'm going to go, well, it's situational. On the other hand, as I have come into some level of maturity, I am often able to calm the hypervigilance down and go, okay, we've been in this situation before. We've been okay. I live in a very small town. We're normally safe here. And you can reach out and talk to the person at the grocery store or at the post office or whatever, because it's okay. Now, you put me in the middle of Dallas or New York City, the hypervigilance is just going to go, nope, we don't do that.
All right. And so these are basically two different parts of us. And if you're willing to do, I don't know if we have time, a little exercise to bear.
Sure.
Great. So we're going to have your hypervigilant part to talk to, let's call the other side of you the pleaser or trusting side. Trusting side, is that what that side prefers to be called?
It likes trusting better than pleaser, but we could do pleaser.
No. We'll go with what it wants. It likes to be called the trusting side. Okay. So choose which one wants to be your right hand and which one wants to be your left hand.
We'll do hypervigilant over here on the right, the dominant, and then trust on the non-dominant left.
All right, great. And who wants to speak first?
Hypervigilance, of course.
All right. So speaking on behalf of the hypervigilant part to the trusting part, speaking on its behalf, what I want to let you know, trusting side is.
The hypervigilant is not very nice. Hypervigilant would say, trusting side, I don't think you're always thinking in your right mind, and that the world is a dangerous place. And I am here as the big bouncer person that takes care of Tanya, and I need to do my job. And sometimes you get in my way and I have to get really angry with you.
And the way it makes me feel to say that to you is,
I feel relatively justified. On the other hand, I am often lonely.
Okay, yes. And move your awareness now over to your trusting side.
Okay.
And receive all that the hypervigilant part of you said, like a stream of colored energy. And let me know where it's entering into that part of your trusting side.
So if we did kind of like an arc, it drops into this, just above the heart zone, and it goes from, so he sends it over in red and it comes down in kind of a orange to yellow.
Okay, great. And how does the trusting part of you feel about this, receiving this?
So the trusting part kind of wants to run away and said, I don't really want to deal with this. On the other hand, the trusting part has a little more maturity than the hypervigilant and is able to say, I appreciate what you do. I don't want you to be lonely. That's why sometimes I say it's okay, even when you are telling me it's not. So I'm a little conflicted sometimes. On the other hand, I know that there are times where it's okay, and I need you just to let go for a little bit.
Great. And is there anything else the trusting part of you want to say?
The trusting part says, I want to take up more space.
Okay. All right. Great. Now, and this process, by the way, is not internal family systems. It's a process called regenerating images in memory, one of their many processes. So it's a little bit different process. What I'd like you to do is just close your eyes for a second, and then you're going to clap your hands together, and a smoke will appear in front of you with the perfect solution that will resolve the issue between these two parties. And you'll see the perfect solution that comes in front of you. Describe what you're seeing.
So the smoke is blue. And this is interesting. What hypervigilance is saying is, I'm tired. I'm tired. And trust is saying, how about we try this? I call on you when I think there is a reason for you to be there. But until that, because I know you're strong and I know you're capable and I know you'll show up, but until that, why don't you go take a rest? Why don't you go take a nap? Why don't you let loose a little bit?
Yeah, great. And how do you feel about this solution?
It's unlocked my jaw.
How does the hypervigilant part of you feel about this?
The hypervigilant says that it would be really nice to go take a nap. That I've been up all night for nights on end, and it'd be really nice to go take a nap. It's a little wary, not weary, but wary that trust is going to do what it says it's going to do. But trust has a lot of maturity.
Yeah.
That's why it's willing to even contemplate it.
And if we wanted to finish this up to make it really, really cool for you, to make it really that you actually get it to go, just think of a situation into the future where this may have occurred differently, but now with your new insight into where you're going to go, you'll notice that you're different.
I have a son leaving for basketball tournament tomorrow. We're not going to go this time around. And that's where trust is saying, you've put him with good people. He's 16 years old. He can manage himself, and you don't have to call all the time or give commands or, do all of this. Let him be the man he's going to be designed to be, to let go of that.
Okay. All right. And how does that feel to you?
It feels better. It feels better to say, okay, I've done my job as a mom. He's a smart, capable kid, and hypervigilance at this point over here is going to cause damage rather than help.
Okay, great. And just replay that scenario 7 times in your mind and just have it. And each time you play it, it will get better and better and better.
Awesome. So tell us, Mark. Okay, this was a little snippet of what you do. Tell us a little bit more about how you do your work and the techniques that you use.
Yeah. And essentially what I've found for most people issues originate from 3 major problems. And we address those 3 major issues. The first is psychological inflexibility, which is the free PDF that I think your viewers will be getting, will be able to download for free. And so the psychological flexibility, many people have undeveloped psychological flexibility skills. And every research has proven that when those skills are developed, every part of your life improves. And yes, I say virtually all the time because I'm sure there's some 1 out of 1,000 that it hasn't actually done. However, I can safely say that so far, all the studies have actually shown that it improves every aspect that they've studied so far. And that whether it's weight management, pain management, playing better chess, playing better sports, getting better grades, in addictions, in all parts. So that's the first. The second is a little bit more complex, and it's really a part of psychological flexibility. It's about moving from your false or your mask that we are all talking about and moving to more your authentic self or your observer self. And it's a little bit more esoteric. However, I find that the best way to explain that is that essentially we have two minds. We have the mind, the thinking mind that's always thinking, the monkey mind we refer to, and the part of us that's observing the monkey mind. And to the extent that we can be more the observer than the monkey mind, our lives get better. And the third part, which is the part we just did, is really to look at all your emotional learnings and your limiting beliefs. And I use various processes to help people to undo the core ones, because there's so many of them. But we're looking at the core one that makes us essentially who we are and where we've been in life. And we rewire or change the story that we tell ourselves about those, so it's not as prevalent in our lives.
Awesome. So Mark is speaking at the Blessed Family Recovery Summit. All the tickets are free. We do have that PDF of his book, and it's beautifully done. All you need to do is click the link below, grab your ticket. That's going off on 7, 8, and 9. So it's not this weekend, but the following one. And he does some other exercises with me, which you can play along with too. Plus, he pulls out his charts and his graphs, and he shows you why this happens. And it is truly fascinating as he explains it. So please be sure and join us at the Blessed Family Recovery Summit.com. Get your free ticket, and you're going to learn a lot more from Mark. Mark, where can they find you specifically?
They can either find me at www.markhusam.com or www.trueselfmindmastery.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark, for being here today. And thank you for that exercise. That's awesome.
Thank you. And thank you. And I hope to see all your viewers there and to get so much out of it. And thank you for putting this on. It is awesome.
Yes, it will be quite the gift. All right.